I'm Pamela Welling, the founder of the North Grenville Writers Circle, and we amplify authentic Canadian voices and perspectives by supporting storytellers, authors, entrepreneurs, and businesses through online interviews several times a year. Today, my partner is RoseMarie Keogh-Smyth, better known as the Mortgageless Mentor. RoseMarie is a financial educator, speaker, author, and coach who is passionate about helping Canadians eliminate debt, pay off their mortgages faster, and build lasting financial freedom. Drawing from her own journey of becoming mortgage-free years ahead of schedule, she now inspires others to take control of their money and create a legacy of wealth for future generations. Welcome, RoseMarie.
Thank you.
Just to get an introduction for people that don't know us, the ones that know you are the Mortgageless Mentor. How did that nickname come about?
Well, a few years ago, I worked with a coach named Jo Bendel, and she kind of kicks my butt on a regular basis using the couple of inches between the pat on the back and the kick in the butt very effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, Rosie, we need a nickname for you. And at the time, I was focused wholly on getting rid of that mortgage. So I was Rosie the Mortgageless because that's what I wanted to be more than anything. When I finally kicked the mortgage, Jo looked at me and said, well, you need a new nickname. So, in the spirit of coaching, what we thought was, hey, I can do it. I can easily help others do it. I can help them with their finances. There's a lot of things I can help out with. So, Rosie the Mortgageless Mentor was born. We joke around that, well, I can't get you into a mortgage, I can sure as hell get you out.
Yeah. Your website mentions growing up country poor. So, how did these experiences shape your relationship with money and debt?
Well, to me, country poor is a little easier than city poor. We had a big garden. There's a lot more kind of bartering going on, I think, in the country mentality than there is in the city mentality. So, while my parents may not agree with me, we didn't know as children. We didn't know we were poor until my sister wanted some designer jeans because her friend had about 9 of them hanging in the closet. We didn't know we were worse off than anybody else. The way that it shaped me, well, I sure appreciate it. I appreciate what I have. I appreciate where we've come. And the way that my parents were able to barter for things kind of left a better value, I think, of the things that I now provide for my son. My mom was able to switch off music lessons or tutoring for horseback riding lessons, or one of our favorites was Lor Secord puddings.
Was there a particular moment when you realized helping others with their financials could be your life's mission?
So a cousin of mine, I come from a massive clan on both sides. One of my cousins looked at me and said, you really need to write a book. You need to write this stuff down. You need to help people out. For years, I didn't realize that my weird ways of dealing with money were actually teachable, that it was something other people could easily absorb and take action on without it feeling overwhelming, without thinking, oh, I have to suck all of the joy out of my life. And so I just started kind of writing down tips. I started sharing some stuff on Facebook. When I studied for my life license and then my mutual funds license, I had to stop putting that stuff on Facebook, however, because compliance just won't let you speak the way that I speak. Anybody who knows me knows it's a little bit different having a conversation with me than it is with your regular financial advisor. We probably laugh more often than you will with your financial advisor. But the compliance rules around the way that you can speak are so tight that you couldn't I was going to get in trouble. I knew I was going to get in trouble. And in my family, we're very good at it, but I figured, you know what, this one, there's legal action, there are black marks on your record, I figured I'd better behave and I took it all down. They would not read my manuscript. So I decided in the end that I would leave the licenses behind. I figure, in a couple of years, I might go and get them back again. I got them once, I can do it again. But I really wanted to have something out in the world that could just help the average, ordinary person who just wanted to fix their finances.
Yeah, and when I think of my generation, we had the wealthy barber.
Mhm.
So he was teaching, get into a smaller house, gain some equity before you buy a bigger house. And that was his thing. And then you had Gail Van Oxley, which was like to have your little things and have your money in different areas. But with you, the focus is more on paying yourself as well, like having a balance between what you want to do and what you want to save for retirement and whatever. Can you just share your philosophy a little bit?
So I believe that your values should actually be in your financial outlook. Uh, I know how I want to raise my son. I know what kind of a life I want to live. I have uh, a bucket list of places that I want to visit that's pretty much the globe. My husband pointed that out to me. My list is everywhere. There's a lot to live in this life. There's a lot of fun to have, and I want to develop a way of being able to do all the things. I can't do them all at once, right? I have to pick and choose at first. And especially when you're just starting out to getting rid of that student loan, paying off your mortgage, saving up for your child's education, like you pick focuses and you base them on what do you really want, not filling a hole, not what somebody else has. You base it on the life that you want to design. Now, as I explained to somebody quite recently in a coaching session, she was afraid that by putting all of her money into one pot, so she's focused on that baby. She wants that baby. It's huge in her mind, and it's the one big goal. And I totally get it. I remember that. So she's putting money aside for the baby, but she's afraid that because there are complications involved for her and her partner, she's afraid, what if something happens and I can't have a baby? I said, well, the beautiful thing about having a financial goal is you can name the account. And then if you find out, well, you don't need the in vitro that you thought you were going to need, and you had saved a couple $1,000s for that, tens of thousands, I guess. You can then use that for something else. If you decide that the baby is no longer feasible and that you've decided you're going to change your mind, the money is there. The money is there for you to go and take a trip, just the two of you, and heal from that. It's there for you to decide that you want to open a business, buy a house. For one of my friends, when she started the renovations on a very old home that she and her husband had purchased, that's when she got pregnant.
Hmm.
So then she
I
needed
guess,
to split that renovation and that baby fund to go and make it
yeah,
all figure out.
that's interesting. And that's a matter of, looking at your plan and if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there if you're driving a car kind of thing. And do you talk about how often you relook at your plan and check to see how you're doing?
So, depending on where you are, I have some clients who are monthly. I have some who are quarterly, and uh, we're definitely looking at kind of you look at your 1 year, 5 year, 10 year. When do you want to retire? What does that look like? Or more work optional? Because do any of us really retire? We end up finding something fun to do, and you thought you were retiring, but look at you now. You
Yeah.
know.
How did you have time to work? Sometimes my husband and I say, yeah.
My aunt says that all the time. So it's knowing what you're wanting to design. We're living longer. We need to save like we're going to live to 120 and live like we're dying tomorrow. So it's finding all of that balance. I I'm very big on at least an annual look at where you are so that you know that you're moving in the right direction and not digging yourself deeper into debt. You want to make sure that you have some big things and some little things all lined up for you for the next few years to be looking forward to, and to have those dreams large enough that they are bigger than a coffee on the way out the door that you don't even finish before you get to where you're going.
Makes a lot of sense. It's probably why you're doing what you're doing.
Oh.
So you often say if you're working for your money should be working for you. What does that philosophy mean in practical terms?
So there's a couple of ways that I use that. One of them is you definitely want to be investing in the right places, be talking to your financial advisor, get that advice, uh, take a little risk, especially if you're younger. because you've got a long road ahead of you when you're not touching that money and you're just letting it grow. So let it work for you. Let it do some of that heavy lifting for you. But also, one of the other ways that I use that is I don't want to be working for my money. I want to be building towards something larger.
Yeah.
So that money is there to support me in designing what I want, in creating possibilities for my son, for myself, and my husband. Sometimes for, other family members as well.
And I guess situationally, people might be different, where some people have pensions, some people expect to have inheritance. So looking at your finances holistically rather
Yeah.
than not having any fun, at all, because you got to live life too, right? I
You,
guess.
you need to enjoy it. You also need to take into account what if my marital status changes?
Oh yeah, that's one that can be really scary because especially if you marry young and you don't think about that, right? Yeah, that's
No,
true.
and we grow together, but sometimes we haven't become who we're going to become.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
so is that person through no fault of your, did you grow together or did you grow apart?
yeah.
Did one of you have a pension? I tease my husband all the time that I'm fleecing him. So I have a pension, he doesn't.
Mm,
And I'm the one who's in charge of the finances. I try and sit him down and talk to him about the finances, but he doesn't want to. It's
not.
just he can handle it.
Yeah,
Before I came along, he could do his finances. If I said I'm done, I don't want to do finances anymore, he'd shake his head, but he'd take care of it.
yeah.
But he just kind of glazes over when I talk about it. So eventually I just look at him and say, "It's okay, honey. Don't worry your pretty little head about
That's funny.
it."
Well, my husband looks after that because he'd be the one where you'd want to have, he wants to keep track of what you're spending for what. And he has some financial, he's taken some financial courses and stuff. And I'm the opposite of you. I'm like, okay, well then let's make it your baby. And you know, we'll talk about it. We talk about every New Year's, we retalk. Okay. What's this year's plan or whatever.
I pop bubbly and as long as so the thing that I worry about for a lot of especially women is so a friend of mine, her husband passed, and she spent the last moments with her husband, with him explaining how to balance a checkbook, how to pay bills. They were an
Yeah.
older couple.
Yeah.
It's much more prevalent in the older population than it is in our generation,
Mhm.
but there's still a lot of spouses, right? Be they the Todds in this world, or be they, that that don't that don't take care of it. It is the other person who takes care of it. And absolutely no way in this world do I want the last moments with my love to be spent talking about banking. I
Yeah.
want to be reminiscing. I want to be hearing I love you. I want to be probably bawling my eyes out. Like I want to be doing the emotional stuff and
Yeah.
making sure that he knows that I felt it, that I knew it, that he was loved, that all of that. None of this. And then who has the insurance policy, sweetheart?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think we had once upon a time we had a locker book um
My life locker.
yeah, 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 that one
Yeah,
exactly.
Sandra did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So he knows where all my passwords are for everything, and I
Okay.
know I know what his passwords are. So and
I love Pam.
yeah. And I'd be like cracking open his I probably have to do his Quicken books, to figure out where everything was. But that is very important. I agree with you. And financial plans, especially if you have like he had a son before we got married, so you have to have, I guess, a clear understanding of what that means, right?
Have that conversation.
Yeah,
Have that conversation. I
yeah.
did start a binder when I was leaving. So I was coaching in Roatan earlier this year. And in the lead up to this, I looked at my husband and I said, if something were to happen to me, do you know where the money is? And he said, well, I'd talk to Tammy. I said, well, Tammy doesn't have all of the money. Tammy's
Mm,
at BMO Wealth. She has a lot of the money. But I have money in various accounts. I have money under various investments. There's money for Colton. There's money for Todd. There's money for me. Like it's kind of everywhere.
mm.
I know where it all is. So I ordered this really pretty binder because I've been wanting to create a binder for years for my clients where it's really tailored to them. So you have like a photo of your child and all of their stuff in behind, a photo of you as the couple, and you're like it maybe never will happen, but I've got this concept in my head that I
I
want to
think you
create.
should. I think you should. Just saying.
I might need your organizational help
Yeah.
there.
Well, I'm talking making graphic design too, so maybe I can help with the looks. Yeah.
I'll be your final
You
project.
you tell me the aesthetic and I'll do the yeah. There you go.
But I've started putting it together where he can grab this thing and at least have the bases covered,
Mm,
right? Whether it's the business cards for the financial advisors and the insurance policies and all of that, or what the case is. But I've got like it's building in there. The binder's like this thick,
mm,
but it would at least be a way of him not to have to worry about where is it,
yeah.
right? That's another thing. Do you want to be worried about that when somebody, no. Now, I
Mm,
did manage to roll an ATV in Roatan, so it could have gone that he needed the binder.
yeah. And insurance is another conversation, right?
Got
And
it.
travel insurance and health insurance, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I've got all of the correct insurances in place. I'm not overinsured, I'm not underinsured. Like there's a whole conversation. It's all part of the elite coaching that I'm doing where I'm because I can't sell you the insurance anymore.
Mm,
I am ideally placed to sit down with somebody and go, all right, so this is what you actually need in temporary insurance and in permanent insurance. And this is how much we really need to put away. Everybody says, oh, you need $1 million to retire. How long have we been saying you need $1 million to retire? And what's the million supposed to do for you? If you don't know what you want to do,
yeah.
a million might be too much, might be not enough. We don't know.
Yeah.
So I sit down and I kind of like develop this whole concept with you. And you actually have to talk to your spouse because when you look at what my retirement looks like and you look at what Todd's retirement looks like, his is going to cost a lot less money. He needs a couple cases of beer, his buddy's back deck. He's happy. Right? I need plane tickets.
Yeah.
So having the conversations between you and your spouse, having the conversations or just considering what it is that's going to make you ever so gloriously happy.
Well, and just looking at it, I mean, I know when you were talking about not knowing how to do a checkbook, I've heard stories of like, because I'm a veteran, and some of the senior people, their wives or their spouses would do so much, and then they could concentrate on deployments and stuff like that. And when the wife dies, they're like, you know, very competent people, but it's just they're not ready for that side of the house. And um, some of them, I've even met people that didn't realize that the pension, you don't get the full pension in your spouse if they die. So you have to plan to live your life on a changed pension situation. And if people don't look at that, then they wouldn't know that, right? And that would be a really painful thing to happen when not only do you
Not
lose your
when you're
spouse,
already thinking about it.
but you not only do you lose your spouse, but you weren't sure to help or if you needed to compensate, but
Yeah.
or then you have to look at other things. Like I always thought a Golden Girls would be a nice way to retire, but I don't think that's what I'm going to do. But I could.
My girlfriend and I have talked about that
Have you?
because we live in the country. We live in houses that one person, I guess, sure, if I were retired and that's what I was doing, poking around my house, but I don't think that would be my happy place.
Hmm.
And we all have different skill sets. So the only cleaning I like to do is sweeping and finance, not sweeping the floor. So
Hmm.
we all have different skill sets. We all have different interests. It's a heck of a lot more fun if you crank the tunes and you have a buddy to clean with. What would it be? What would it look like to either have small houses close by? My cousin Mandy talks about a compound, to be the Golden Girls, to have that kind of that concept
Yeah.
of it takes a village,
Yeah.
right? So how does this look? My
Yeah.
son says he's staying here forever. Nah.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to convince him that he needs to go somewhere cool where I can go visit. This world is a very wide one. But I don't want you locked down here
Yeah.
because mom's alone and can't handle the chainsaw and the lawnmower and the power tools. I can, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's, you want to be self-sufficient. You
Yeah.
also want to be in a position where you have the grace to live out your years as you want them.
Yeah.
My grandmother, so she made it past 100. I was there for her 100th birthday in her own home, sitting by her fire. My mother had moved in to kind of keep her, if any fall happened, she was there kind of thing, right? But my grandmother was in her own home under her own roof. And
Mm.
I told my son because there were just things going on that it was everything was very complicated. But I told my son, I said, look, if I get to a point where I need your assistance, you can't walk in here and tell me that I can't have this and I can't have that and I can't have the other thing, right? A
Yeah.
dietitian told my mother that my grandmother couldn't have the jam donut and the little bag of crisps and the tea that she'd been drinking forever. My grandmother doesn't smoke, she doesn't drink, but she couldn't have caffeine anymore.
Mm.
You don't take caffeine away at 99. You do not take my caffeine away ever. So my
Mhm.
son and I had that conversation. So I need to
Already,
be
eh? That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I need to be in a position where I got the money in my pocket. I'm not under anybody else's watch,
Hmm.
right? It's Colton, I need your help. Can you please help your mom? I'm going to be paying for my expenses, though. I'm paying for my house if this is where I want to stay. If I want to move, then I'm going to move. But it's on me, it's not on you. And I said, you can't take away my joys.
You know
And
what we
he was
should do?
sitting,
We
what's that?
should do an interview that's just on that.
We could because we seem to be landing there now. We've got some
We're
pretty
landing.
when did we get heavy?
Well, it's like I'm 56 now, so I think about that a lot, right? Like, what would it look like if if I passed, or if Todd passed, or what would that look like? You start
Yeah,
thinking
we
about
both have Todds, which I find funny.
that. Is funny, yeah. We should see if they meet. See,
Todds are
hey
they're like the
Todd,
drummer in the
new
band.
looks, see looks, yeah. Or my husband's first name is actually Andrew. So I have
Okay.
so when I go professionally, I have to remember, oh yeah, it's Andrew, or else they think. But our
They
neighbors,
think you have someone else.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's Todd. So anyway, yeah, I think we could. I think it would be good. And then our husbands will probably think we're making plans or something, right? But no, you're worth more alive, Todd. Yeah.
Yeah, Todd has done the math. He
Yeah.
when we got our first insurance policies, I telephoned home and I said, "Honey, is the I don't know whether it was the Mayo or something." I said, "Is the Mayo still okay?" Like I'm not too sure. He makes the lunches.
Mm.
And he said, "Is the life insurance policy in place yet?" I said, "No, no, it hasn't come in yet." He said, "The Mayo's fine." I didn't see that one coming. Man, I laughed. Then I went, "Wait a second."
For again bringing it back to the military, is like when men went on overseas deploy, mostly it's men, and like,
Mostly it was the men.
yeah. When Todd and I married, I deployed. I'm the only one that deployed when we were married, but he deployed more often than before I met. Anyway, that's a sidebar. Um, but it's like, the one who's at home doesn't necessarily know what the benefits are of the person who's deployed. Like, they might not know, if something happened, that there, you can get help from a military person. And Todd has vac benefits that if something happened, like we could have somebody do our driveway. I mean, you don't
Yes.
consider that kind of stuff as something that you also need to life plan as you're aging. Like, who's gonna do your driveway? Who's gonna, like, if you all of a sudden can't drive because you're like of a certain age that you're not, shouldn't be doctor doesn't want you to drive anymore. Well, if you don't have a bus, how are you going to, planning for what that's going to look like isn't just,
It's not
like,
normal
it's a
planning that
big
you think
picture.
of.
It's a big picture, right? Yeah.
It's never been something that's been discussed with me by my financial advisors. right?
Hmm.
It is definitely something that's discussed with me, with my clients, but
Right.
never has somebody else had that conversation with me to say, what else do we need? What else is going to be out there? When you look at how much is it going to cost you per year, per month, because we all think of it differently, doing
Mhm.
those calculations, well, what are the things that your spouse takes care of?
Yeah.
Even when I was doing life insurance, when we would look at a stay-at-home parent
Mm.
and the one spouse who was working is like, well, we don't need life insurance on that one. Yes, you do. Do
Yeah.
you know how much you're saving because that parent is staying home?
Yeah.
Right? When your children are young, that daycare, that transportation, that you don't have to take sick days when your children get sick, there's a huge cost associated with that that people
Yeah.
aren't taking into account and certainly not appreciating in the spouse that stays home.
Yeah.
Right. So there needs to be that kind of an equalization. I've talked to some of my clients who are like unequal in their pay. So one is making a substantial amount and the other one is making a minimum amount or none because they're staying home. And I'm helping them see the value on the other side because generally this is the spouse who's going to be taking the days off and staying with the kids,
Yeah.
but also looking to see, oh, we have company, looking to see how that is going to play out in insurance and in future years and also in paying the bills because if you make twice as much as me, why am I paying the same amount as you?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. And those are conversations that are hopefully when you get married, you have to hope that, not hope, but test that you're on the same path for what you want, right?
Well,
Like,
there's so many conversations you don't even think to have. You think about, are you, is marriage in your future, or children in your future? Are you a family type of person who's going to go to all of the family functions? And if you're not going to do that, you're not going to make it with me. Um, but there are other things you don't even think about, or you thought you had the conversation,
yeah.
but you didn't,
Yeah.
right? You thought that this was settled, and then the other person goes, "Oh, no, no." But we talked about that back in the beginning.
Yeah.
But that was
And you
back in the courting
change.
days when they'll tell you anything they want that you want.
Yeah. And you change, like,
And you change.
yeah. Like somebody, there's some people might have it. Well, if you have extra money, I get to buy a really nice car. And I'd be like, well, I would prefer to have the house paid off or put it for emergency funds or invested or whatever. But yeah.
And I bought a Harley before I bought a house.
Yeah. But you
So,
planned. You planned. I remember you were talking about it. You planned for it, right?
well, he was trying to get me in on that like couple stream.
Oh,
Um, but I had always wanted a Harley by the 100-year anniversary, and he came along into my life, well, back into my life a couple of years before the 100-year anniversary. Didn't change my goal,
yeah.
right? Like, and my father laughed because I had a motorcycle before I had a house. Then I
Yeah.
had my Harley before I had a house. Um, Dad wasn't around anymore for that, but he made some comment about, well, I always knew that you'd get your bike first. And I just grinned and said, well, if I didn't have anywhere to stay, I guess I could just ride up here.
Oh my gosh. I've never had a license, but I sometimes used to think about the spiders. Maybe
Oh,
have,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
couple times.
let's see. Legacy wealth, I think we're moving into.
Oh, we
Uh,
got completely off track of anywhere we ever thought we were going to go today.
yeah, it's good though. It made me think of the Golden Girls and what life's going to look
Never a
like.
bad thing.
So you pay mortgage freedom. That's where we are. So you paid off your mortgage in like half the time of what you might have expected. So, what were the biggest factors that helped you do that?
So there's actually a video on my website, completely open. I at the time that I popped it up, I didn't even know how to ask for your email address at the time, so you don't have to put one in. Somebody might fix that one day. It's also in my book, and a couple of different steps of knowing your prepayments. So if you know all of the details, such as how much can you prepay, double pay, are you doing weekly, accelerated weekly, biweekly, monthly? There are a bunch of ways that you can just kind of make it go faster. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to put a whole bunch of extra money in to your mortgage. It means you just do it a little bit better. You amortize it over less time. When you renew, you don't put your consumer debt into your into your house. You and you drop the amortization. A lot of people leave the amortization at the same, they just pay less as so it's the never never plan. You're never going to be paying off that mortgage.
Yeah.
Um, there are ways of just even adding small amounts to your mortgage that you don't feel, it doesn't hurt, you don't notice, but every time you put money on your mortgage, that amount of money is no longer being charged interest.
Mm.
So not only have you dropped your mortgage by a little bit, but you've dropped your interest payment too. So
Mm.
if you were to be able to print that amortization schedule to see what the end amount looked like, just because you threw $100 on it today, you'd
Mm.
see a change,
Yeah.
right? A small amount here is a larger amount there because it's not being compound interest attacked, basically,
Yeah.
right? So there's a bunch of different ways that you can painlessly
Mm.
pay down your mortgage. You don't have to be as crazy as I was. I'd be sitting here at my computer and giggling, and Todd would look over and go, "Are you paying the mortgage again, baby?" But that was my hit, right? Like I was, yes, I still lived life. Yes, I still had a grand old time. But there'd be, it was minimum $100 that I could put on my mortgage. So if I was sitting there looking at my bank account going, it ends in 101. And I just send it over to my mortgage.
Right on.
Yeah. I
And
raced. I made it a game. So my cousin's husband and I were sitting at the table, and we all had beverages. And he and I are talking. My cousin and Todd are at the stove, and they too are talking. And they both look over at us and go, "Wait a second, because we're talking mortgage. You guys sound like you're competing." And we looked up, and the pair of us said, "We are." And then I grinned and said, "And I'm winning." He'd already put the biggest lump sum possible on his, so he was done. I
Mhm.
still had lump sums available. So I beat him by 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's it. But man, we celebrated. We took a few of those mortgage payments because when you pay something off, like seriously, go have some fun. We took a few of those mortgage payments and we flew the five of us. So myself, my husband, my child, and my cousin and her hubby. So the five of us went to Panama and it was glorious. When Corey was at 40 Creek, so in the Toronto area, there's a whiskey company called 40 Creek. They had um, a celebration bottle of some kind, and he had them engraved mortgage free on a bottle
Nice.
for each of us. So we've got a couple of bottles that I don't know if we ever get to drink because Todd's a collector, so they're up there on top of the cabinet. But it says mortgage free 2019, and we
Very
each have a
cool.
bottle. Yeah. But Panama
Very,
was even better. That was January of 2020.
yeah.
Yeah.
We look at things sometimes and say it's a math problem. So if you had a business and you can claim uh, interest or on a business versus paying off something you're not able to claim, like do it as a math problem, which is kind of
Completely.
my fun right now. But maybe we'll have to I have to talk to Todd. We haven't talked to each other about once we pay off the mortgage what we're going to do. I think we're going to have to do something for sure. Yeah.
Before New Year's Eve, when you pop a top on what the year was like and making your plans, have just a dreamy conversation about how much do we pay? How much of this money from from our monthly income gets sucked into this mortgage?
Hmm.
And now imagine that amount of money being able to fund this amazing life that you want.
Yeah.
You're already living a glorious life. You're meeting all of your needs. Everything is great. But
Hmm.
now you've got an extra amount of money that you can be like, what are we gonna do? It's a fun conversation.
Well, and then we're at the point where we have to make our RSPs either into RIFs or they can't, we're going to get to an age where we have to collapse the
Yeah.
RSPs. So, and that's fun to have that discussion. You know, it's like, how did we get here? We're on the
You,
side of knowing our pensions, knowing our RSPs, knowing our RIFs. It's like, yeah, we talk about that kind of thing a lot more than we used to. And thankfully, we actually talked about it years ago. Makes it,
yes.
yeah. So when you get there, you know what you're doing.
You don't want to be waiting until someone's telling you you've got to think about this to think about this.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at RSPs have got to be okay, Canadians. The RSP is not the answer.
Well, yeah, if you have pensions, but
We were lied to, right? I was told to
yeah.
tap out my RSPs right away when I first got a job. Do you think I was making great money back then? No,
Mm.
no. So it's immediate gain for long-term pain is basically where I was left with. Now there's this beautiful thing called the tax-free savings account.
Yes.
If we had have had that, they would have told me differently when I was younger, and I would
TFSA.
have gone
Yeah.
there. TFSA is a gorgeous thing.
Yeah.
But the RRSP it's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem to have where you're trying to figure out how to maximize that amount coming out, not losing the gain that
Yes.
you've had.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So it really is a fun mathematical equation to be doing. If ever you're doing a leave without pay, that's a great time to pull some of that money down and throw it into a tax-free savings
Lower
account.
your income, or
Yeah.
when you're retired and lower your income. Yeah.
Because when you take it out, you don't have to spend it. Like we know that, right? We can top up the TFSA, and then you can have that lovely growth tax free. But there's so many moving parts. Now they've made a change so that you're not, if something happens to your spouse when you receive their RSPs, you won't be overwhelmed, like taxed at a different level. So it's good to have the conversations much earlier.
Yeah.
I have a lovely redhead in my life who just walked through my door, Mandy. She does my taxes. So when she is looking at the whole family plan, she's helping me with those puzzle pieces. She's
Mm.
making sure that, okay, well, when you take down this, it's going to affect you here, and here's your tax level, and here's your. So
Yeah.
she's going to be instrumental when I start taking down my RSPs.
Yeah. Todd
And I
has a
actually have plans to do a year without income. So take a leave
yeah.
without pay into my pension,
Yeah.
use the RSPs, pull them down.
Yeah.
Um, Evidently, I will need to sell a few more books to do that, but
Yeah.
but be able to manage all of it in a way that leaves us in a much better financial position than we could have been in. Opportunities, right? We've put ourselves into a position where we have opportunities and we have possibilities.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
Yeah, my husband, he can do an assessment. If you do this now, what will that look like then? And it all changes based on when he. I'm glad I have my Todd, and your Todd's glad he has you, I guess.
My Todd's very glad that he has me, and I'm glad Mandy, like having, we say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it also takes a village for every human.
Yeah.
So having your people, knowing the skill sets that we all have, and just being open to guiding each other and to taking advice. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm not the smartest person in the room. In some conversations I am, but I'm not the smartest person in the room because I want to surround myself with people who know things,
Me
right?
too.
That whole, what was that line? I drink and I know things.
Me too. I mean, we're not like the board. We can't know everything. We have
No.
we have things that we are really good at, and somebody who's lived a different life are going to have things that we haven't even experienced yet.
Yeah.
Put it together and open your ears, and that's how you get to do things,
Well,
right?
and what about my student loans? We don't know that I ever would have found out I was this good with money.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? Like it was a shock to the system getting that piece of paper that said you owe this much money. I went,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never seen that in one piece of like, whoa. It's
Yeah.
certainly not, that's not my annual salary. I don't make that much. So it kind of did something in my brain that maybe wouldn't have happened,
Yeah.
right? I might
Yeah.
be just as in debt as other people I know.
Yeah. And you're so happy. Maybe that's because you've got it figured out.
I'm
Sometimes
always happy. Even when I was like up to my eyeballs in debt, I was still a happy person. I can't help it. It's like really just enjoying wherever you are and not letting it drown you, right? If you do feel like you're drowning, reach out to someone for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
right? Like we've got to be able to normalize the conversation of it's too much. I can't handle it. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Before we started recording, we were talking about a certification that I'm going to be seeking to be able to offer my services through workplace wellness programs. When we had Heather Coleman on the line not too long ago, she's done that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
she was the person that you could go to and could help you out, and your employer was covering that cost for you. And
Yeah.
imagine a world where we all have access to the supports that stress us out. So if it's finances, you have access to somebody. If it's a family thing, if it's a psychological thing, we have access to service providers, and it's included in our wellness packages, right, from
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So we would be able to go to work a lot lighter, a lot happier, a lot more effective if we could calm all of that down.
Yeah. And it's not I think we're of a generation too, we're less, I think more people are realizing that it's a strength to go and learn and to incorporate lessons into your life to get where you want to be instead of just being stuck where you're at,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you okay, let's move to the author journey because we've talked a little bit in our last interview about your book having one of the most memorable titles, which is "Don't Have Sex 9 Months Before Christmas and Other Practical Financial Tips." So that's really sort of what we're all talking about. Is like you don't buy a house for $1 million if you're making $5.99 an hour, right? You do it as you have it. And but
You
tell
just
us
aged yourself on that one.
probably, eh?
I was $7 an hour.
I was
Um,
385. I remember 385. Yeah. And you could
I,
get,
I was telemarketing, so because it paid more hourly.
but you could get like a Harvey's hamburger fry and a Coke for $3. But still, I used to think
Different
too,
time.
I'm working this hour for one meal. I don't know. Anyway, so can you tell us a
Great
little
way
bit
of
about,
thinking about things,
I
right?
do. Yeah.
How many hours of work is this going to cost me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Some of the things, if we were to put it into that perspective, how many hours of work is this going to cost you? And I'm talking after they take the taxes.
Hey, that could be the title for your next book, eh?
Oh, my next book. Yeah, how many hours is this going to cost me? I like that. The next book is actually, the title's out.
Oh, okay.
The title is out. It's mentioned in my book. Uh, How to save on sunscreen and why you shouldn't. Buying the best you can afford.
There you go.
Yeah, this is the advice from my grandmother: buy the best you can afford. Um, there are times when you need to spend the money.
Because you'll just buy it again once if you buy. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess with everything, I can think of a million ideas. You buy a cheap sweater, well, then you're going to need another one because it's not going to make it through too many wash cycles. You buy a house, you're going to have to fix it up and make sure it's insulated. Is that what we're talking about
It's
here, or is
it's
something
it's
more
exactly what we're
complicated?
talking about. It's
Okay.
putting the money into the furnace, it's putting the money into the roof, it's putting the money into the deck if that's the thing that's going to increase your lifestyle.
Yeah.
It is knowing when you're just buying that cute little shirt because it's summertime and you are hitting a patio, or
Mhm.
you're buying a piece of clothing that is going to be part of your wardrobe.
So
So
kind
there
of
are
like
times.
understanding value too, right?
Yeah,
Just because you don't like it, just because you love it, you have to know that that's a decision because you love it, but it maybe doesn't have the value of lasting for a long, 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 long time or whatever. Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, very cool. Do you have? Are you doing the outline now, or where are you in that process?
So probably the same place I was with the first one, and it took me 7 years to get there. So we're going to try and shorten that timeline.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't take 7 years. I will have to make sure that you remind me every time we talk. Hey man, keep writing.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Well, that I
oh,
took that as an order now. So okay.
no, excellent, excellent. And you are military, so
And you have to say, and you have to keep saying, "Finish your book, Pam." Sorry. Go ahead.
start the book. So I want to write it down. So I've either got to choose like a notebook that I'm consistently going to use, unlike the last time where it was everywhere, or get one of my tablets out that is not hooked up to internet and just writing on. So when I wrote my first book, I didn't know what AI was. Now I have to resist throwing the idea into an AI bot and like keeping it collected that way, because I find that when you're having that conversation with your AI, that it pulls you in different directions. Now, sure, some of those are going to be great, but the thing that I hear from readers is that they can hear my voice.
Yeah.
They can hear me giggle.
Yeah.
I will be here forever because of that book.
Mm.
I want every book that I write to be, Rosie, I can hear your voice.
Yeah.
The day that you read it and go, oh, I wouldn't have known it was you. Well, what's the point now?
Yeah.
If you can get that generic information anywhere, there's really no point to me writing the book. But the way I think that I deliver information is different and reaching different people. So I'm
Well,
not for everyone.
you've got a brand, and you want to
I
be true
have
to
one.
your brand, and your brand is your voice. And yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is the reason we don't have an audiobook. My cousin Carrie is after me for that one. I have to read it.
Okay.
It has to be my voice.
Mm.
I thought of, so I have a cousin who's an actor. I have so many family members. I love it. It's abundant. I'm not complaining in the least. So I have a cousin who is an actor, and he does voiceovers. He does acting. He does the whole thing. Like, he's part of ACTRA. His name is Dwayne Keogh. And I was considering asking him to read my book, but it wouldn't work. So instead, I've asked him if he can do a commercial because it has to be me. It
Yep.
has to be my voice.
Yep.
So the next book, I want to maintain that, it's me. It's like having a conversation with me. I was reading the Amazon reviews, and somebody said I can hear the excitement and the speed in the author's voice. They don't know me,
Hmm.
but they can hear this galloping of the
Yeah.
voice. And I mean, I use way too many exclamation marks for somebody with a literature degree, but
There's a personality in it. It's not a
it's a
corporate book.
personality.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that that stays true. I've
Mhm.
already talked to, so Chloe Adams did the art on my book, and she already has the concept in her head. We've talked about it probably while she was drawing that one. We were talking about it because I kind of already knew where that book was coming. So she already has the art in her head, and I believe what we're going with is, so you have pregnant mom and child on this cover. I think we're going for dad and the currently unborn child on the next cover.
No, there you go. Yeah,
You
that
get to meet
makes
the whole
sense.
family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. And we'll talk after about, I've got some platform ideas for doing your Outlook, like a
Oh yeah,
software. Yeah. It made me think.
brainstorming. I love it.
Yeah. So let's see what else we got.
Oh,
If
did I
someone,
even answer the question? I think I lost it.
well, we went into your second book, but we didn't go into your first book.
Oh
Um,
yes, the first book. I
maybe
love my
just,
first book.
I think the last time we interviewed, we told where the story came from, but why not just tell us again for people that haven't listened to that on how that came about, the
So
title.
the title,
Mm.
"Don't Have Sex 9 Months Before Christmas and Other Practical Financial Tips," comes from my sister is the mother of four. Two of her children were born pretty close to Christmas. And Christmas was this extraordinarily stressful time. My sister's first child was from a teenage pregnancy, and that really changes the outcomes. I've
Hmm.
actually considered taking a Sharpie to 9 months before Christmas and just having don't have sex and other practical financial tips available to anybody who has not completed their post-secondary. But that attempt to make everything perfect. So my sister is more about um, the Martha Stewart style Christmas. She always dreamed about the perfect Christmas. She wanted everything, and I get it. She had this beautiful babies, and she wanted everything to be just perfect. Uh, but it was so stressful.
Mm.
Trying to think of all of your Christmas presents. She had three children back then. She had her youngest is not very old now. But she had three children, two birthdays, the meal planning, because we always went to my sister's house. That's where the kids were, so it was easier to travel there. But that I didn't even think of it back then. That meant that she was buying it, or maybe dad was helping out, maybe mom was helping out. I don't know, but I wasn't.
Mhm.
So all of this expense fell to my sister. And every year it was amazing. Every year it was beautiful. We had the best times. The memories were incredible. The birthdays were fantastic. The cakes were delicious. But she was so stressed.
Mm.
So I sat her down one day and I said, "Do you know when your children were born?" "Yes, I do." "Do you know when Christmas is?" "Yeah, yeah, I know when Christmas is." I said, "Can we figure this out then? Because you are super stressed." So we talked about a few different ways that we could do it. Can we buy the gifts in the summertime?
Yeah.
No, the kids change too much. Now that I'm a mother, I get that. The favorite color has changed already. What do you mean it's not green anymore? The so it was then let's put the money aside. So the money would go aside at other times of the year to allow her to then have the money to make it as spectacular as she wanted. Now, as parents know, we started we started watching when do the kids lose interest. So you've got so many gifts under the tree because man, we got excited. And we'd find deals because we were very good deal shoppers. But when did they start to get distracted and want to go play with the toys that they'd already opened? So we try and take note and adjust for the next year. We
Mm.
weren't always successful, but at least we try to bring it down. We try to hit that sweet spot, and we'd be talking to each other and trying to figure out, okay, well, there's this big wow gift, and then there are these really cool gifts, and then there are these functional gifts, like the pajamas. And so we would kind of try and rejig it every year. It might have just been another excuse to get together and hang out, who knows? But we enjoyed it. We had all these planning parties. Um, And it did eventually get much more calm. But now she's going back into parenthood.
Mhm.
And again, things are cranking up again. She has one child. We all know I have one child. We all know what Christmas looks like when you have the one child at home, right? So there's this little being who's really excited and dragging us along with them in all of the excitement, and we want to buy them everything.
Yeah.
But then everybody else is also pitching in on buying things. So it's really being able to figure out that balance. But that tip alone, so 9 months before Christmas is St. Patrick's Day.
Is that's where it came. Okay. Oh, okay. Not too
Watch
much
out with that
green
green
beer.
beer.
Green beer, another name for a next book or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, what was it? It was is he a troll or a leprechaun? Was one of the things that I was thinking.
Oh, I got the closing question.
Hmm.
When somebody looks back 20 years from now and says, "RoseMarie changed my financial future," what do they hope they learned from you?
I hope that they learn to look at what they want, they truly, truly want, and then let their finances support that.
Hmm.
Have you heard about was the parable of the Mexican fisherman?
No.
So this big wig from the States comes in and he sees this man in a boat and he has a couple beautiful fish. And the man says, "Oh, well, these are beautiful fish. This is wonderful. Why don't you have more?" "Well, this is enough for my family. This is all I need." "Well, you could fish longer and you can get more fish." "Well, no, this is what I need." "Well, what do you do with the rest of your time?" "Well, I have a siesta with my wife. I play with my children. I sit on my porch. I go to town, have a pint. It's a pretty good life." "But if you fished more, you could then have a team. You could buy a bigger boat. You could cut out the middleman. You could. And then one day, later on in life, you could retire and you could siesta with your wife and you could play with your children and you could walk to town. Knowing what you want, you might already be there." So some people after working with me have found out they've already got it going on.
Yeah.
They're on track, right?
Yeah.
It's a really short coaching cycle, I gotta say. And others are designing, they've never even thought. So Joe Bendel, my coach, I'm her coach. So we've designed her 100-year-old self because she works for herself. The paycheck isn't going to come in forever.
Mhm.
She has this beautiful image that she takes us to when we're kind of dreaming up those next big dreams, right? Those next, where are we going from here? And she says, "Okay, I'm going to take you to the bench." And everybody who knows Joe Bendel knows that bench. And you sit, all she has to do is say it. "We're going to the bench," and I'm already dreaming about 5 years from now, right? It's a reaction to me. And I said to her, I said, "Well, Joe, if we don't take care of your 100-year-old self, she's going to be living on that bench. She's not going to be dreaming on that bench."
Mm.
So we've converted some of her savings into older Joe. We've discovered that she already has some things in place, right? She was born in England. She has some things that citizens of England already have access to that she hadn't been looking at. She has various things now in play where she saved some money on the big trip to Japan that she just took. That was her 50-year-old Joe. She saved some money there because her brilliant boyfriend won tickets. So she took that money and instead of putting it back into a travel fund or putting it into some spending, she put that into 100-year-old Joe's account. So we're taking care of 100-year-old Joe, then we're going to take care of 99 and 98 and 97. We're going to count it backwards. And as she's working, she's also taking care of this.
Right on.
And she said, "Well, I think I need to make this much money." Well, as we worked through, we realized she doesn't need that much money. She doesn't have an extravagant lifestyle. She has a really good passport.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's able to eat delicious foods from the market, travel, enjoy life, and put money away.
Great. I think that's something that we all need,
Yeah,
right? There's no sense, and if you plan properly, then there's you're able to handle surprises, you're able to handle, so much and not live to work, but work to live.
exactly.
Yeah.
If we're not so caught up in keeping up with the Joneses, the whole fake it till you make it,
Yeah.
all of that, if we're not concerning ourselves with that,
Mhm.
and we're driving the car that is perfectly fine, but maybe has some rust spots on it. I'm a Canadian. I'm gonna have rust on my car. You know, it's gonna happen. I don't
Yeah.
need the newest, the biggest, the greatest. I need my family. I need my friends. I need my fun. I need my tequila trails with my girlfriend.
And you're saying if that is the equivalent of somebody else's motorcycle, then they can do it.
Yes. So no, know that. So my Harley, oh my God, I come with Harley. It's not going anywhere. I told my husband years ago when I got into an accident and he was losing his mind on me. I said, "If you can't handle it, I'm not getting rid of it." If it's your Harley, if it's your big dream, then that's your big dream. You're going for it. If it's
Yeah, but don't think
it
it's
could be
something that
transportation.
you have to be. successful
Oh,
or something that's magical, like that's
oh, it
mental.
is magical.
Like, well, yeah, you're right, but balanced by um, what else you can do, right?
Right.
Like,
And so my 100-year Harley, so the anniversary,
mhm,
I wanted to have a Harley by the 100-year anniversary.
mhm.
I hadn't specified which Harley it was.
There you go. Yeah.
I wanted a Harley by the 100-year anniversary.
Mhm.
The Harley that we found, so my husband actually found both of my Harleys on Marketplace. Well, actually, I think the first one was Kijiji back then, and now it's Marketplace. But it was this beautiful little red hugger, gorgeous bike, small lady bike, right? Now I have a much bigger bike. I have a 2009 Night Train. This is the kind of bike that makes grown men cry, right? When they
Mhm.
look at me, they think that I have this little pretty girly bike. And I just look at them and say, no, my bike is better than yours. Well, you don't even know what I ride. Hmm. I ride a Night Train. They go, your bike is better than mine. But it's gorgeous. It's me. It suits me.
Yeah.
Flat black with some chrome on it. It's not fancy. It's just stripped down, stunning, beautiful, gorgeous bike.
Mm.
That's not your bike,
Yeah.
right? This is my bike. So I
Uh-huh.
went from I wanted a Harley to there were a couple of different models that I really liked. And then this one, when we found it, amazing price, wonderful shape, beautiful bike. It is. I love it. I'm never trading it.
Right on.
Uh, but if you know what it is that you want and the difference between a Mr. Right Now and a Mr. Right. So my red one was the Mr. Right Now.
Mhm.
My black one is the Mr. Right,
Right on.
right? You want to be a homeowner, you buy the Mr. Right Now to
Yeah.
be able to get into the market and then increase your equity and move on. Kind of like the wealthy barber says.
Mhm.
But knowing what your massive dreams are, knowing the why, and then really, really focusing on that, getting your joy out of achieving that dream as opposed to getting your joy out of buying the person, buying the shoes, and buying da, 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 da.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying don't, but no,
Yeah.
weigh it. Is this getting me closer to where I want to be?
Yeah.
Right?
And
Or
there's
do I
another.
just, need this right now? I went to Nazareth last year with my girlfriend.
Right on.
Like it's sure, it cost a pretty penny, but that was her and I going back in time when we partied with Nazareth until the sun came up.
Mm.
Well, we tried to do it again. We didn't get to party with them till the sun came up this time. But we went back in time, basically, and we went to something that meant a lot to us. Does it mean I'm going to
Yeah.
go to a concert every week? No.
Yeah. I get that. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Before we round out this interview, is there anything else that you want to cover?
Hmm. Uh, right. So there's two different things that are going on right now in my business. One is the debt annihilation boot camp. So um, I have this email series that I am building out into a video series. And as mentioned previously with doing the voiceover for my book, I'm not really that quick at it. But what I've done is created the Debt Annihilation Boot Camp and put it up on my website for the low, low price of $11. In this, over 31 days, you are going to be getting emails. You won't get an email a day because you need to do the work. But you're going to be getting emails. This is for the person who is up to their eyebrows in debt. Like you can't see over the mountain. You don't know what to do. You need to shake this through. $11, and you've got it. Um, in there, you will have a couple of questionnaires come at you just to give me some feedback on, did you need something different there? So if I'm making this into a video course, do you need it to be a different worksheet? Do you need something else explained? Do you need whatever? At any point, you can just click reply, send me an email. I'm the only one on the other side. There is no AI bot. Um, you can get an answer to your specific question, and that will probably inform, the videos for later.
Mhm.
The $11 is basically so that people have some skin in the game.
Mhm.
I found a lot of people signed up for the boot camp before I revamped it, and they didn't do the work. So it's $11. That's what, 2 Starbucks. And then that money is going to go into designing it and getting people smarter than me to put it up on a video. Well, I'll do the video, but they'll do all of the back end hard work. So if that's you, if you are struggling with debt and it is driving you nuts and you need to get through this, please go to my website. The links are going to be in the comments. Sign up for that course. For those of you who are just like you're making great money, you simply don't know where it is. You don't know at the end of the month what happened to it. You're listening to some of the conversation before going, I haven't thought of that. I haven't thought of that. And my 100-year-old self is in trouble. Talk to me. Come and talk to me. I have a coaching program. They come in sets of 3, 6, 12, where we dive in and we design it around you. Because designing it around me, designing it around Pam, that's not going to help you. So you can get in there and you can design something. You can know exactly where you stand and what you need to do to get to where you want to be. And if that dream happens to change along the way, it's money. We're going to rename the dream to something else. If you go from, I want to retire in Tahiti to, I want to buy a boat and live on the water for the rest of my life, we're going to figure that out and we're just going to get you on the path. Changing your dreams is just part of the game, and it's okay. Once you start thinking about things, then you start seeing the possibilities. But if you never start the conversation, you're going to get there one day and go, I don't have the money to keep my home. I am one disaster away from losing it all, and I never want you to be there.
So it's goals and mindset.
It's goals and mindset.
Yeah. Right on. So they go to
Mortgagelessmentor.ca.
There we go. Okay, and we'll put the links on with the recording. So look in the comments, people, or look in the description, or
and leave comments. Tell us what you thought of our meandering conversation.
Yeah, and if you can do it constructively, like don't hurt our feelings. Well, I guess we're thick skinned. Yeah, we can handle a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so if you found this interview informative and enjoyable, please take a moment to click like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future interviews that RoseMarie and I will be doing together in this next month or so. We're also going to, in the future, featuring authors, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders. Your support helps us continue to bring meaningful conversations to a wider audience. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of the summer.
Have a great day, folks. Thanks, Pam.
You're welcome. It was great to talk to you again, and we'll probably talk tomorrow.
Or later on today.